Welcome back, team. For those who don't know, my name is Rob Laz and I run a property maintenance business here in England. And last month alone, we invoiced more than £200,000 in one single month. And the thing is, I never picked up a tool. I never set my foot on site. I wasn't even in the country. I came back now. I was gone for a long ass time, months. I didn't have to be here. And if you yourself already run a thing and you don't see those leads coming in reliably, you may think that you need more referrals or you need access to some different platform or just by grinding harder. But that's not the solution. The thing that decides whether your business is going to grow or die is not you being better on the tools, but instead what it is having a proper flow of works, one that you own. And over this video, I'm gonna put everything on this board, every channel, every number in order and exactly how I would build it up from zero once again. Now, this took me around 4 years to build, and I'm gonna map out every single mistake you can make, tens of thousands of pounds invested and tried out there on the market, lessons to work out. I'm gonna put it all in one board for free in this video. This is not gonna be a motivational video, it's gonna be straight up what I'm living and breathing in this industry, how the work comes in, how we manage it, how we put it out there, how we fulfill the jobs. Everything's gonna be in here. Also where the money is hidden in this industry. So watch it like you paid me for it, because people actually pay me money to build things like this out for them. One thing though, this kind of video is for people who already made money in the industry. People who already invoiced a few jobs out, made few hundreds, few £1,000s out of it. So if you are not that person yet, if you never tried out a job in your life, then it's fine. Just save this video and you're gonna use it later on. Now, just so you know that this video is real, we've done 4,200 jobs or even more to this day. That was the last time we counted them, and they resulted in 4.8 out of 5-star reviews out of 880 housing association reviews. What this means is a nearly perfect score. Even on Google, we've got 4.9 out of 5 stars with more than 100 private client reviews. We've got nearly 1,000 subcontractors in our database doing the work that I never get to touch. And the clients that get to send that work out are big names in the UK industry. I'm sure you know them, I'm not gonna list them out here, but they are government bodies, they are housing associations, just your usual companies managing thousands of properties. And in the most recent month, we've done over £220,000 across the business while I was sitting here or in a different country, while I was sat in Spain or Morocco, even England, but half the time I'm not even here. So this is gonna be the board. I'm gonna go over it, starting with where most contractors are stuck and the one model that changes it, what to implement, what not, what works, what doesn't, what to actually sell, then the engine, meaning the channels that bring in that demand, which is actually where this time on this video will go. And also how to run an inquiry that comes in entirely from a distance without you being present on site. And also how to just become more credible to your existing clients and to better clients, to following clients, the ones you actually want to work with the ones who actually bring in the profit. And also finally the numbers that can tell you if you are actually winning or if you're actually doing the work as charity work for someone else and just being busy. So let's get into it. So here you are juggling from site to site, having to be there, present physically, because you're not sure if the subcontractors or the tradespeople, they're gonna deliver the jobs properly or they're gonna mess up, and you gotta be quality control, isn't it? You also don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. What's gonna happen after you finish this job, this refurb, or once this client will dry up. If you're in these positions, then this video will help you, because I'm gonna go through how to overcome this type of issues, this type of problems. I remember even myself back in the days, before having appropriate systems, before understanding the industry and how the psychology of lead acquisition works, I was struggling to get busy myself. I was out there on platforms like Nextdoor. I was posting in every single neighborhood from different accounts just to get myself out there, and I was hoping that this way I'm gonna attract clients. I was present on Gumtree, again, 10, 15, 20 posts all about different services that I was offering. I was testing out hooks and ways to attract clients, but that wasn't it. It wasn't sustainable. It was almost like begging clients to come, and that's not what you want in this industry. You want the clients to be the ones who will chase you. That's where you can set your rates as well, the way you want to have them. This is the only real bottleneck that you have in your whole system, that you cannot get the work reliably. And that's what we're gonna go through. Without it, it's almost like you've got yourself a job instead of running a real business. And thinking that you just need more leads is also wrong. You need the right kind of leads. The leads who are not bullshitting, the leads who can give you repeated work, the leads who pay on time, the leads who don't micromanage your work either. You know, all these aspects, they count. These are clients you want to attract and work with. And these you can only obtain them through a specific way, through specific systems. That's why even when you're watching operators who are worse than you still succeeding, is because they figured out specific systems. That just proves the point that whoever uses the right systems can get better results. You don't need to be the best on site, you don't need to have crazy amounts of technology knowledge. You just need the right system and the willingness to learn and implement it. By the end of this, you'll see that your whole business gets down to one single point that's broken, and you'll also see how to fix it. Now let's break down how this system works. The model that is called construction arbitrage is, in very simple and plain terms, is that you are the operator in this whole business. That means that you will win the contract. And the way that this model got born is from back in the days when I used to work as a handyman and I was doing private work on the side. That's where I won a few smaller jobs. And since I was busy, I couldn't honor them always because I was busy with my main job. So I had to find a solution. I got myself a few trusted lads, I vetted them properly, and I got them sent down to the site. They finished the works, I trusted them, they got them done properly, and I collected that margin in between. That's the simplest way of doing it. Now scale it up one notch, and all you have to do is win the contract, have a system vetting the subcontractors, so you make sure that you get that good quality of tradespeople. Then you need to learn how to manage it and deliver the quality that's needed in order to keep these relationships, and you get the margin that's yours. This is what we're working for. You position yourself as that layer in the middle between the people who always have the work, which are, in our case, housing associations, property managers, landlords, homeowners. And on the other hand, we've got the tradespeople, contractors, subcontractors, smaller teams who do the work and who can take the responsibility for those specific works. Then you get to hold that margin which is in the middle. The real money that's scalable is not in doing the work. If you're on site, you only got, 8, 10, 12, 14 hours in which you could do the work. But if you control different teams, then you can collect from each. Imagine yourself as being the one pulling the strings on tens of different teams, all of them profiting a few hundreds, a few thousands, and you collect from all of them. Out of a sudden, it's almost like multiplying that time. You're not stuck on working 8, 10, 12 hours a day. You're literally controlling hundreds of hours of workman's hours, hundreds of hours of labor. And that is because you brought yourself into that position. This is not a marketing agency or some new business that you start. It's just management, an industry that you already know. It's managing builders. It's literally the same trade, is just one layer up. From worker, you get to be an operator. And just to make it clear, this isn't passive income or some bullshit, and it's not money that comes overnight. It's something that needs you to be hands-on to build it out, but then it can run without you. Now, moving ahead, there are two different reframes that change everything in this business, and the way you choose it and the way you understand it will dictate your future in this model. We've got the worker, we've got the operator. You've got to really understand the difference between the two. Otherwise, it's a classic mistake that keeps operators stuck. If they keep going back to being the worker, they will never actually become the real operator. If they keep slipping back into the worker duties, they will never maintain their position as the operator. And the difference is here. A worker, he does the work himself. Operator, he controls the work. For me, it was so hard to detach myself. In the beginning, when I was building up the model, I kept slipping back in, to the point where I bought myself 3 plane tickets, and over a course of 2 months, I couldn't leave from the country, literally, because there was always issues arising. And since I was here, I felt myself responsible to always jump on site. I got to the point where I had to force myself out. But then I developed the right systems that forced me to develop the right systems in order to run this business remotely. Now, a worker is kept at his own hands. An operator scales through the subcontractors. And the way this goes is, if you are a worker, even if you have a small team, you will never be able to grow it to tens or hundreds of operatives, tens of subcontractors, forming tens of teams. You will just not be able to physically, because you will be stuck. You need to be sat down, especially when you're building it out. You have to have that time. You have to have that mental capacity. You have to have that focus to build it out. And if you're out there on sites all day long, taking care of issues and doing things with your own two hands, you'll just not have the capacity. A worker has the income tied to their time. The operator keeps the margin. What this means is that you are setting your limit. Obviously, there are certain limits, there are certain standards in the industry. You cannot be out there overpricing crazily. What you do is you set your price, and if you play your cards right, you keep your expenses low and you mark up that profit, and then you multiply. These systems allow you to multiply. Otherwise, if you're a worker, someone else will decide that rate you are on. If you're a worker, you don't have location freedom. You cannot be in two places. If you're the operator, you run it from anywhere. As I am now, literally, as I'm speaking to you in my car, parked down in my car, waiting to get into a meeting. I'm taking care of tasks from my phone. I'm talking to the team. I'm always connected. I don't need to be on site. I can be wherever. This is what the operator position unlocks you. Now, we gotta also understand the difference between social housing or property managers and private work, because private work is different. These are the two pillars of construction. Of course, there's commercial work as well. And the gross profit margin is smaller as well by default. But there's that volume that compounds. That's where you can win the contracts. That's why it becomes the most reliable demand, literally. You win the contracts, it's only yours for years. You just gotta have the right systems to deliver them. But then that profit is guaranteed. And then it builds the cash flow. You get that money to use. And there's no better proof than the social housing proof. Saying that you work with government bodies is better than any private client. Now, in private work, you've got larger amounts usually, 1 to 5K, 10K, 20, 50, 100K, depending on what kind of jobs you do. Obviously, conversions, refurbs, and so on can go way higher. And then the gross profit margin is way higher as well. It's more or less double, even more, 3 times, 4 times more it could be. That's where the real money per job is. Volume is less, but then the margins are higher. And the other thing is, it's not that regulated either. It's easier to access. In social housing and government contracts, you need certain qualifications, certain certificates, insurances, and so on. So these two, they work in harmony. As you can see, you can build a volume, got proof, cash flow, you can all of these, they contribute to your image as well. And that's where you build it up into stacking that margin through private work, which is easier to deliver and comes with bigger margins. So then you've got that property manager and social housing work that synergizes with the private clients, where you can successfully run those ad campaigns. Now, where people mess up on this is that they either chase the shiny object, which is the private work, where they have those fat margins, and they never get that crazy volume needed to scale, or they run this volume game, or they get stuck in the property manager, social housing work. They get that crazy volume and they get tricked into being very busy with smaller margins. You need both in this game to succeed. Now, the next thing is what to actually sell. You should pick something that A, it sells fast, and B, it hands off cleanly to a subcontractor that can deliver that work without giving you headaches and without needing that supervision on site. For start, reactive and plain maintenance beats the big jobs, those one-off projects. There's also other benefits that, like, for instance, it's quick cash, it's faster proof as well, and just the coordination itself is way lighter. Now, here operators can get stuck in two minds, choosing between these big one-off projects or focusing solely on reactive maintenance. Now, this is the part where operators can even get stuck on either choosing these big one-off jobs such as loft conversions, refurbs, basements, full garden refurbs, or get stuck on planned and reactive maintenance, and that's all they do. And truthfully, you gotta start with maintenance works in order to build up those bigger projects. That's the core that's gonna lead you towards those fat margins. You could have a complementary service menu such as reactive maintenance, planned maintenance, kitchens, bathrooms, voids, turnovers, refurbs. This is more or less how it leads from smaller jobs to larger jobs. And now you've got the wedge. The wedge is that what we call the emotional small ticket service that is meant to act as a hook in order to set your foot in the door. And this is the explanation. It's an urgent, it's emotional, it's an easy yes, the first service and the ad hook. So it's something that they can decide on in seconds. You can target the customers from different angles on those ads. Child's health, the awards law for the landlords that's pushing them to sort out mold by law. This is what that hook is based on. For me personally, the reason why I chose it is because the AWAB's law is something new. It's been live since October. Operatives and subcontractors are easy to train, and it leads to more landlord work. As soon as you prove yourself with something small, they will trust you more. Mold treatments are small enough to get in that property and then be able to point out the rest of the issues that come with that humidity, such as blown plaster, blown flooring, blown carpets, rotten kitchen cabinets, rotten subfloors, and so on. There's so many things that mold and damp could affect. That's how you point towards those bigger jobs. Also, repairs and maintenance make up around 44% of the market in England. That means that half of the construction industry in England is repairs and maintenance. There's recurring demand. And then there's another thing, the labor shortage. There's hundreds of thousands of new contractors needed until 2030. That means that the landlords are out there desperate trying to find contractors, and the law is also pushing them towards you. Now the engine and how the work actually comes in. Now if it was to take one section of this video and take it with you, it should be this one, because this is the only one that's actually going to decide if you actually have a business or a hobby. These are all the ways that you tried till now to get work. You've got referrals, check a trade, bar, SEO, agency, all these things that you rent out, you pay per lead, you basically beg for clients. It's nothing that you own. It's almost like building your house, your whole house on rented land, one that the landlord can come and take it back whenever. Tells you you gotta demolish the house tomorrow. It's the same thing working through platforms. That's not a steady flow of jobs. It's not predictable. On Check a Trade, on Bark, My Builder, all these platforms, that same lead is sold to 4, 5, 6, 10 other builders. And you are all out there trying to race the lowest bid so you can make a little few hundred, few tens of pounds on a job. That's not the way. And SEO, to be honest, you cannot scale through that. Like sure, you get people coming, visits on your website, visits on Google Maps and so on. That's not enough. That's just, it's complementary to systems that bring in work directly. And plus it takes so long to set up. It's a 6 to 12 months of a slow burn. And it's useless when this month's cash is the problem. You need money now. And then the agency. I see so many agencies out there nowadays. I'm not saying they cannot work, but it's like a black box that stops working the moment that you stop paying. And then the owned acquisition, it's a completely different vehicle. And me myself, I own a few of them because it's never smart to stand on one single leg. So roughly 55% of the work comes from the allocation platforms that I use. These are not platforms where you have to pay for leads. These are just platforms from different housing associations, government bodies, social housing, disabled people's centers and so on, schools, churches, insurance companies that are meant to push out work towards accredited contractors. And the way it works is just a bit of behind the scenes, is that housing associations and repairs managers, they don't just ring up contractors and be like, hey Bob, you know, I've got this project, get it sorted, we've got 2 weeks to sort it, just send me the quote and so on. No, it doesn't really work like that. You got different platforms where they list these jobs and then they come with a so-called tender pack, or they come through different forms. If you are a part of a framework, then just come as a small description and then you bid on that specific job. If you are a known contractor on that platform, they could do something that's called a direct award. So you put in your quote and they push the repairs and maintenance jobs out through these online platforms. So in order to be on these platforms, you have to be an accredited contractor. You get on there either by invitation or by participating in different tendering processes, and then you get awarded and you get invited. Now you get on these right platforms and you're plugged into a constant stream of work from organizations that never stop needing it. You gotta have different accreditations, SSIP, CHAS, construction line. There's lots of them out there, and we talk about which one is the best because we used to burn money. We tried most of them. Now there are accreditations like SSIP, construction line, safe contractor, CHAS. There's lots of them, and there are better and worse ones. Worse ones, and the reason why I'm saying this is because by running this business, we burned thousands of pounds on stuff that we didn't even need, to be honest. It was accreditations that unlocked nothing. And there are others which do the same for half the price and as well allow you to have access to different opportunities, to network and contact different tier 1 contractors, main contractors, again, government bodies and so on. It puts you in front of them. These are all things that we had to experiment ourselves in order to know which is good and which is not. And these are all things that I teach through my program. And sometimes reinvesting into your own business means saving up on those mistakes that can cost thousands of pounds, just by learning from someone who has more experience and got burned a few times. Also, it's not the same getting these accreditations in the right ways that can take a few days instead of wasting time, even months wasted without knowing exactly how to get you approved on them. And this is why this industry is beautiful. There's not many companies out there, believe it or not, because the barrier is real and not many people cross it. But once you do, this is your steady flow of work. And I'm happy for that. That just means there's more room for us. Also, one thing that you need to keep in mind once you get on this platform is to tick all the boxes, all the services that you do. Because I'm gonna tell you a funny story. After we got on our first platform, almost nothing came through for like 2 months. We thought that this industry is dead. And then we realized, we looked further in, we had an account manager. He's long gone now from the company, but he was supposed to get us in on all these services. And then I said, let me look inside of it myself, because I just couldn't understand why nothing is coming through, you know? So when I opened the services bar, I see that the only one that the guy ticked was the handyman works. And there was another 250 services that remained unticked. So the moment I ticked all those boxes, it was probably like 150 out of 250, because they were all from the same industry that we were working in, the same subcategories. Out of a sudden, the jobs started piling up. So moral of the story is always go through the setup on that specific platform. Even yourself, even if you have like a platform manager, don't just blindly trust them, because people, they make mistakes. And imagine those unticked boxes were the ones that actually kept us out of this whole platform, out of the workflow. This is your visibility on these platforms. And now let's give one example on these platforms of how they work. Let's say they pay around £100 for a smaller job. Client pays around £300 for an operative, a builder that does everything. You pay someone £200 a day. That's a normal rate in England, in London nowadays in July 2026. So then you end up keeping £100 to £300. The reason why I'm saying £300 is because that same operative could go sometimes and smash out 6-7 jobs a day, literally. So then it keeps adding up quickly. 2 operatives, 3 operatives, 4, 5, 10, 20. You can scale it up, and that's where you see for yourself. You see the margin. £100 from each, and you're living good. That's the machine. Now, the crown jewel. This is the one that actually changed everything for us. And why? It's the highest value channel. The property managers and housing associations outreach. It's because one good property manager relationship is not one job. It's 20, 30, 50, 100 jobs a month. Jobs that you don't need to pay no credits for. It's not tied to a platform. It's direct award. That person won't take your quotes and try to beat it with 5, 10 different subcontractors. That property manager will trust you blindly as far as you don't burn them, and will keep allocating jobs towards your company. Imagine it this way. One property manager can replace 100 bark jobs. This is the only channel that builds a durable, reliable business. And when you're reaching out, what you're targeting is not the info at or hello at sort of emails, because that's just a bin. Nobody who decides anything in these companies reads those email addresses, let's be honest. Now, the people you want to deal with have titles such as repairs manager, maintenance manager, asset manager, property manager, repairs inspector, and their only job is finding contractors who can get these works done for them. And you are literally the only solution to the things that keep them up at night. And now the easiest way of finding them, and this is tested, is through the LinkedIn search. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take their full name, and next to their name you can put repairs manager or asset manager, maintenance manager, and then you're gonna shortlist based on that. If you're not sure about the person's name, you can research based on the company's name and the title, such as repairs manager Mace, repairs manager Morgan Sindel, repairs manager Catalyst London, stuff like that. That's how you contact these people directly. Now, on top of this, you should also build a list, a real target list of property managers and housing associations managing properties in your area, across your region, or across the region where you could have access to the operatives and the subcontractors you're gonna use. There are hundreds, and almost none of them is being approached directly, properly. The first message, it has to be a positioning. It's not a begging. It's the way you position yourself. You lead with the one single thing that they actually need. A reliable contractor that can take care of the jobs that they need done most. So you need to identify what they need doing. If they are down the coast, then the follow-ups. Because one single email is nothing. From experience, I'm telling you, the follow-ups are the ones that turn on property manager into that rolling relationship. Now, the way I scaled it was through a LinkedIn automation. I didn't do everything by myself. I got an automation to research and send out hundreds of messages towards decision makers in the specific companies that I was interested in. You can find many tools out there, but the one I was using was called Octopus CRM or something like that. And that's the difference, that once you start reaching out directly to these people, you stop being one out of that 100 people who reach out on that general email. Now you're speaking directly to the person, and you have the opportunity to show them that you're the one that can sort out those issues that keep them up at night. Then we've also got the long game. We've got the frameworks, DPSs, tenders, as we spoke about them before. These are those pre-approved lists. They are slower to enter, but once you enter, this is the beauty in it. You've got frameworks for years, 4, 5, 10, even 15 years. Some of them, they are kept for as long as 15 years. For example, we just submitted for a Walthamstow Academy, $500,000 housing association tender for kitchens and bathrooms. We've got another tier 1 main contractor healthcare tender with different various works in the industry. These frameworks and DPSs and tenders are basically databases and lists of pre-approved subcontractors or contractors that various government bodies, public sector and housing association clients get to buy from. Getting on is quite slow, to be honest, but once you are on, it's durable work, it's compounding, it's high value work. This is more of a later move, it's not a starting point. And then we've got the paid ads funnels. These are private works, and this is the best way of building up that pipeline, that flow that we discussed. Not through those paper lead platforms, not through begging and trying to attract these landlords to choose us, these homeowners, but through a sequence that from an ad, a Meta or Google ad that can direct to a landing page, then a form that they complete, and then later on the back office qualifies that lead and they send out the quote straight away for that, how we called it, the low ticket emotional service, the wedge, which for us is the mold. And one of these gets to get approved right away. Beauty in this funnel is that you own it, you don't rent it, it's not bark, just as the text says. These are the kind of systems that you could scale up on. Imagine it this way: if you're running a Meta or Google campaign and it works out good and you do the maths, you see the numbers, that the ROI, the return on investment is there, you can always scale up the budget, you can have more leads, you can hire more people in the back office. It's scalable. Whilst Bark, MyBuilder, all these platforms, if you mess up with them, you can be out from tomorrow. You've lost your flow, you didn't control anything. That was that rented land that we discussed. And now the beauty of ads is that you don't even need that crazy budgets anymore, because you control the spend and you control who sees those ads. If you like how the campaign performs, you scale it up and you make money on the way. And the beauty with the ads nowadays is that you don't even need that big of an investment anymore, because you're the one who controls the campaign. You're the one who controls who sees those ads. If you don't like the quality of the people that come through, you can always change it. If it works out good, you can scale it. If you notice that the campaign is not performing as it should, you can just chug it. Now you have more knowledge than 95% of people out there. But one thing I cannot do for you is to do the work for you, because that's the difference between knowing that the channels exist and actually producing through them, having them live. Quick one before we keep moving: everything I've shown you, the 2 acquisition channels and the model itself, is exactly what I would build with you inside my program. If you already started, you've got a few jobs behind you, and you want a proper flow of work and a real business, then there's a link in the bio. Access it, fill out the form, and if it's a fit, we will contact you, get you on a call, map your business out, start to finish. And if it works out for both of us, then beautiful. If not, then no hard feelings. And now hear me out: if you show up, you do the work and implement what we built together, and you still didn't collect at least £10,000 in job revenue in 90 days, I keep working with you for free until you will get to that point. The risk will be sitting with me, not with you. Right, back to the board. Next one is turning inquiries into won jobs. Now, getting the inquiry itself is half of it. This is the leaky bucket section, because most operators, they get the inquiry and still lose. because they got no processes in turning an inquiry into a one lead, into a one job. First thing you should do is a 60-second filter, which is 4 questions, the timeline, because a real buyer has a date. They know exactly when they want it done. Someone who's not serious will tell you like straight away, or you will sense it that they're just getting prices, guessing to see like what it would actually cost. They don't really have the money. The second question is, have you got other quotes? If they're gonna say that there's been 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 other contractors out there who checked it out and they're waiting on quotes and so on, then you're there to be compared with them. So you have fewer chances of closing down that job. Then you gotta ask, who's the decision maker? Is it this person that you're talking to, or is it someone else? Because if you are not talking to them, then you're literally wasting time. You're gonna go through another person once again, and you know how things happen. And then the last one, this is the most important one, is the number test. You gotta give them some rough estimate. I know some people, they don't agree to this, but even on the spot, you could give them a rough estimate and see their faces, see how they react. If they are positive about it, they'll say, okay, perfect, just send over the company headed paper. That's already a green flag. You know that you should put your time and effort into this client. If they say they'll think about it or whatever, you already know it's a time waster. And from experience, most of them, they will tell you straight away if the budget is way lower. For instance, you quote up a refurb, you tell him more or less it's going to be 20 grand. The guy goes, well, I've only got 5 grand for this job. The next thing, you either propose less works, just the basics, and they may accept it, or you just drop the client. That's it. If they wish for miracles, they should do the work themselves. And another green flag is that the client itself starts discussing the price with you, tries to understand the quote. That's all right from my perspective. That means that they're actually, that's a sign of interest of buying if they engage. And now when you do your prices, you shouldn't quote on the price itself. You never want to be the cheapest. You want to quote based on your reliability, the fact that you're accredited, you're not some cowboy, no one, with a proof that you finished works similar to this before or the same. And you should follow up instead of jumping to conclusions and just sending out discounts straight away. Now, the reason why these questions are so important and you should go through this stage is because, especially in the beginning, you are the business. Your time is the one that you cannot make more of. Every single hour on a dead lead is an hour that you could invest into the business itself, into the sales process, into the lead acquisition, into the conversion process, into the management process. And the second you become good at qualifying the clients, that's where you stop being desperate and chasing every dead scrap. Plus, you're the operator who's deciding who's worth your time. And the buyers, they feel that. And you have to quote on value, not on price. Also, quoting on price is a symptom of having no proof, no positioning, low on the market. You gotta give them a reason to pick you, and that isn't the lowest number. You gotta price the spread properly. You gotta price fairly so the subcontractor is paid well, and also that your margin survives. The fear trap is underpricing to win the job and then ending up making nothing on it. You gotta price fair. Also, a quote that goes out in silence, it ends up dying. And that's the single biggest leak in the operators' businesses. What you need is a simple CRM. So you don't just operate randomly in notes or in a notepad, but something where you can see the jobs live, you can forecast for the month and follow through the quotes that you sent out. This gives you room to actually plan and commit and gives you room to breathe, because without it, the jobs, they just get lost and you don't even know what you lost. And now the delivery without you on site. Now the thing is, you don't even need a crew or a payroll to grow. You control the job, the price and the standard. Then you get to outsource the hands. I've got nearly 1,000 subcontractors. This is the living proof that this thing can scale. And I never picked up a tool on any of them. The way this goes is you gotta build, you gotta find and source your subcontractors. Then you vet. You get them to do a trial job, something small, just so you get to know them. You check their past references, you check past jobs that they've done, and then you draw a conclusion. It's not rocket science. You gotta take a bit of a risk as well. But the idea is minimizing that risk. You do ongoing checks on them, you follow through the process. This thing is not optional. This is what separates a contractor that works with cowboys, with any randos, and someone who actually cares about who steps on their sites. And then you manage it. First off, is through sending out a bulk request for quotation. You get in those quotes, you agree on staged payments, and at the end you sign off the records. A checklist. You make sure that they deliver it up to the standards. The payment structure should be based on the completion of the job. So you pay a percentage in the beginning, pay another one at the next stage, mid, and in the end. Usually it's 20-30% as an advance, and then further on as agreed. This is on bigger jobs. Why the staged payment? So you can protect your cash. And then the contracts. This is gonna protect yourself, your business. The non-circumvention, this is meant to stop the subcontractors from from walking off with your client. Client and property management service agreements. This is again something that gives you more chances that work keeps rolling towards you. But as you know, relationships are key. So you could have the best contracts in place. If no one trusts you, if no one wants you around, they will find ways to just go around them. Then you've got the scope and the sign-off sheet. So the scope is something that you hand out to the subcontractor. They know exactly what needs to go down on the site and the quality that you expect. And then the sign-off sheet is basically a documentation that they send showing everything that happened and how the job got finished. And then the staged payment terms, the ones that we just discussed. I haven't needed to be in London for a long ass time to run this because the work gets allocated through those platforms and the systems and the relationships. Now, one of the most important things, and many people ask me this, how to actually get off the tools. The reason most operators stay trapped on site isn't the work itself, but it's the admin. Social housing, for instance, is by far the largest volume, but also the largest volume of back-end admin work. Every single job means coordinating access, scheduling with tenants, scheduling updates, updating clients. That team that absorbs most of these tasks is the single biggest thing that helps you to come off the tools. If you build it, you literally get to be free. But if you skip it, then you just got yourself a busier job. And the team itself, mine at least, is fully remote. Why remote? Because of the cost. And because the model travels wherever I go. It's not tied to one single country when it comes to the back office. Quoting, scheduling, chasing, tenant communication, management, organizing jobs. Now my structure is, I'm Rob. I'm more into the direction and the growth only, meaning launching new campaigns, finding new services that we could launch, partnerships, relationships, the growth of the business, new hires. These are things that I focus on, more of the vision. And then from there, I've got my operation lead. I've got 2 first agents, as I call them, that handle the responsibilities and the client relationships on their own as well with their own existing clients within the structure. And then they themselves, they've got agents and operative managers. These are what we call the second agents. These are the ones who follow the day-to-day activities, quality of work, photos, updates, scopes that are signed, completion reports, and just making sure that the jobs are delivered properly and that the operatives are happy as well. From here, we've got the recruitment side, we've got recruiters in the office, the accountant, and all of these leading towards the vetted subcontractor network, which are apart. Now the pipeline, the automations, the templates, everything can be run from the phone, from the CRM. Laptop is welcome as well, but it's not 100% needed. Got an AI quoting bot that's trained on thousands of jobs from the past that we have manually priced up, and it learns from them constantly. An AI document reviewer and an SOP library. And the funny part is these last things that I just told you about. It's a thing that used to have 5 guys in the office sorting quotes out, manually reviewing documents, keeping track of the standard operational procedures. Those are all things I don't need to hire because of the systems. That's why the company runs lean, which means it makes more net profit. And that's also the reason why a solo operator can start this in 2026. Now the brand, the accreditations, the proof stack, this is going to be short, but it's essential. This is what unlocks those better clients and also breaks you out of that price competition. Also, it's really important to understand why proof beats promises, because with no reviews and no past clients that you can show off, you've literally got nothing, no image. All you got to compete with is price, and price by itself is a losing game. The proof stack is that thing that lets you win those better clients, the repeat clients. And now this is the brand setup in the business. We've got some sort of SSIP industry standard and some health and safety accreditation. Like I said, it could be safe contractor, CHAS, construction line, it could be any of them. Then you've got your CIS, then you've got your tax scheme. These 2 are the ones that put you on the map with new clients. Even when you want to rank on Google Maps, you want to show off your profile, these are always welcome. It is an investment, but it pays back quickly. And then the proof that you have from every single job that you complete goes hand in hand with these. Every reference client, every review makes the next easier to win. That proof is the asset that quietly sells the work for you. Then we've got your tax compliance, your website, Google Maps, the reviews, they all work synergetically. And then we've got the numbers, the unit economics, the cash, the forecasting. It's that place where all those gurus, they go quiet because truthfully, they never run the business. You gotta know your numbers in order to know what to chase. Social housing, job values between 500 to 2 grand. This can differ lots, they get sent out in bigger volume, but this is the average job size. The cut is thin, this is the most reliable one. And then private work, jobs are like 1 to 5 to 10, 20K, cut is bigger and it comes lumpier, meaning that it's not that reliable, but you can still maximize it. Now, cash timing is the silent killer, because for a job to get done, you gotta front the materials and then wait for the cash. It can sometimes take even 60 days, especially working in social housing environments, in government work. And then a good month that can look good on paper can leave you cash poor and stressed. That's why deposits, stage payments, everything we discussed before. Busy doesn't equal profitable. You gotta be focusing on the margin that's retained, not the jobs that are done. Now you gotta be honest with you. The realistic floor is a controllable pipeline and real repeat money, not some get rich overnight number. So build the flow, know your numbers, manage the cash, and the rest follows. And now the last thing is scaling and the operator identity. This is the thing that travels. And why it travels? Because the crescendo is concrete and honest. What you need to understand is that what gives you the advantage in a year, it's not working harder now, it's building this machine now. Literally travels. The model itself isn't tied to the UK. Every single market on this planet has people who need maintenance works done and trades who want a steady flow of works. Same structure, any country, literally. I run mine from anywhere, from Spain, Morocco, France, Italy, wherever I want to be. The principles are universal. You need to stop being the best operator who's still stuck on this feast or famine. You become the one who controls the work, wakes up every single day and knows where the work is going to come from next. And you know that you built yourself something that is going to run with or without you. The shift, worker to operator. Right, that's the whole thing, literally. The entire business mapped it out on one board. So let me leave you with one thing. If you were to take at least one thing from this video, is this: the problem that you're facing is not a work problem, it's more of client acquisition issue. And that's the thing, it's actually good news, because acquisition isn't luck, it's not about who you know, it's not the market you are on, but it's a pipeline that you can build out and you can own. Once you've got those two channels that we discussed about, once you build them out, these channels that feed you work, all you have to do is control and deliver those jobs to run it. Everything I put out here is real and I'm actually running it myself. I'm living proof of it. And the only thing I couldn't do in this video is literally build it out with you or hand you the live accounts, the exact lists, the scripts, the network, the contacts, and actually hold you to it until the work is actually flowing. Also because that's a different thing, but that thing is out there if you want it. But now you've got the full map, more than almost anyone in this trade will ever see. So go and use it. I'll see you on the next one.